It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. The front. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Is frontline one word? Yeah. Let me see if it's spell check.
Frontline. That's a show.
It came up as one word. Because I'm putting on Facebook for my watch party. Call in and tell us who you want to recognize for frontline, for being a frontline worker. Frontline is all one word, right? Yes. I just asked the genius, Sean. He'll know.
He got 5 masters there.
Rashid started counting on his finger. I said, "Is frontline one word?" Rashid said, "Frontline." Like, those of you.
You know this guy.
Wait a minute. Oh, Sean, hand me that. They don't care. We don't care if you get in the shot. That's part of this. That's part of this raggedy show. We don't care. We just real. We real. What'd you say? Oh, thanks, Sean. So I okay, now they can see me. I asked Rashid, those of you on the radio, I said, "Is frontline one word?" And he was like, "Front," and just started doing his fingers. So it's cold outside.
It's cold outside, baby. Baby, it's cold outside.
Councilman, I need you to pull that mic close.
Pull it, and give me a little bit more in my ear. Just don't blow me out. Check.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The baby is cold outside.
Yeah. Sean, you got ankle socks on.
Sean has ankle socks?
It's cold outside.
I wear them too all the time.
Really? Oh, That's why y'all cold.
Nah.
Well, we went out to the mall. So every year, the three of us go to the mall. Every year. And always last minute. So we drive all the way out to Rochester. And it wasn't snowing when we went.
No,
right?
it wasn't.
So we go out to Rochester, and it's nice. We come out. No, when we were there, we charging the car, and starts to snow. And come on, grandson. Come on, grandson. There you go. Ladies, he's not single, though. He's a spoken for. Yeah. So we leave the mall, and when we leave the mall after it started snowing, it was so bad. I'm paranoid of driving in the snow. I don't know about anybody, especially on the highway. When you've got trucks whizzing past you, I was driving like I was 89 years old. A trip that should have taken us an hour and 10 minutes took me a total of probably almost 2 hours. And I wasn't playing because it was bad.
And he was hugging that wheel. He had cramps in his hands. Oh.
No, I really did have cramps in my hand.
White knuckles.
When we got to that house and I let go of that steering wheel, my hands were cramped because I've gone up under a truck before. Yeah. So Rashid, I said, well, I'm afraid of spinning out. Oh, like you spent out before. Yeah, you remember when I went up under the truck
no,
and I lived through it?
I knew you spent out. I wasn't knocking that because I know. But I told you my story. I had to spent out too. And it's like, oh, God, thank you. Because it's scary. Well, but you were under the truck, though.
Oh, I was under the truck. Under the truck. Excuse me for that. Ooh, that's diabetes.
Enough sugar.
So we came back and it was bad. But this is what I want to say real quick before we get to topics. Folks got to learn how to drive in the snow because we saw some after that first snow. People just be driving crazy. You have to, and I'm not perfect at this. Like this morning when I got up and I had to get to the city for the capital budget that just got approved. That you got to get all that snow off your front. You can't just have like a little hole. It's dangerous. Now, there are times I can't get it all off because my window is so long, but you got to at least be visible.
You got to clear the windows. It's crazy. Like we were driving and there was a car that was cutting in front of us that could not even see out of their rear view mirror, rear view window.
On the 33.
Because it was snow all on it. It's like, really?
On the 33.
And then they got kids giving them directions, looking out the back window like, oh, there's a car there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we got to drive a little safer out here. But I'm glad the sun is out today. I told you before, I can deal with the Amber Bowling on my watch party. And again, if you want me to see on the watch party, you have to come to Darius G. Pridgen and join my watch party. If you want me to see the comments, if you want Mark to see your comments, just go to Power to the People show. Amber Bowling says, I love the snow. Amber, you can
have mine.
You can come get mine.
Yeah.
You can come pick mine up.
Take it wherever you need it.
And I tell you what I am going to put on Northampton is a garage.
There you go.
Because, we've been having last winter wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
So with this winter, and I had to be at City Hall at a certain time, and I really didn't count in there the time to scrape off the windows. Bruh, when I say I was out there, I've got to have a garage.
I told you how blessed I am that I don't have. I just park in the garage. I ain't got to come knock off no snow. It's a blessing. After all the years you had to knock off the snow, now I can just get in the car and go.
Well, I'm glad you're so privileged.
I'm
not that privileged.
You didn't want that.
It wasn't that I didn't want
You
it.
want 5 floors. When I just got one.
Oh, shade.
Yeah.
This dude he said you wanted 5 floors. I don't have 5 floors.
Well, okay, 4. Okay, let's cut one off.
What did Sean say?
That's
over
our
there in the
basement.
background?
That's all I got.
We got some serious stuff to talk about, but first of all, oh gosh, that is hilarious. All right, I beat my father in pool. That's the news, though, but that's a whole nother story. Good afternoon, everybody, from Jeanette Parker. So, we're going to spend only a few minutes on these speed cameras and let you know what we have done as a council. And before you say what we are trying to do, I want to say this and be loud and clear. And I think I've said it on this show over and over and over and over. And people are starting to get it. They really are. That we are all for safety. I know you said the council is all for safety, but I should say the majority of council members, not for a all day when kids are safely in school.
Right.
And the signage you put in a resolution to change the signage.
Right.
And we're just seeing so many problems out of this company and so many excuses. But I want to say, and you talk about the resolution and what we're trying to do, but I do feel that we signed off on safety. I'm not going to back off that. We were okay. But I think that 2 things that I hope happen. One is the enabling legislation from the state. I would love to see that go from you can only give a ticket if they go 11 miles over. That's why I said 15.
Right.
Because when we wanted to move it to 20, you would have been able to go 31, which was regular speed before you got a ticket. I would love to see that be changed, so that it's 5 miles over, and we could put it at 20, and then you go down to 25. Now, there will be those, of course, who will say, well, for every 5 miles, the impact and all that. The reality is, then we should be going 1 mile an hour. If we're talking about measuring the impact, number one. We should be just doing 1 mile an hour or 5 miles an hour, because then it would be even less. The reality is that there are some dangers to me of going from 30 to 15, especially on a major thoroughfare. But let's talk about go ahead.
And I think that, when we've initially put this legislation, we wanted it very narrow because at the time it was just before the pandemic. So we put the legislation for, we had when the children arrive, when the children depart. That was basically it. But then the other things opened up. And I think the thing that someone said, one of the council members said, that the fact that we weren't involved in it really kind of created these other issues, because we are sensitive to our constituents. What we're hearing right now, the changes that we put forth through the legislation when we did it on November 17th was based on what we heard from constituents. That when you come off of Windspear and you make a right on Main, you didn't know it was a school zone. You were in it. And then Peter Reset brought up when he did one of his podcasts that you couldn't even see the sign because it's behind trees. And then the camera is right there. So we are looking to expand it to move the beacons out, which is part of legislation, because we want people to see it clearly and fairly.
Absolutely.
And we wanted the sign to be further out so people can see it. And so if we don't change those things, then that's the part of the problem, where people feel like it's a money grab. So we've asked for that legislation. To date, it has not happened.
But I do want to say, in all fairness, that we were contacted and they are going to move them.
Right.
So they are going to move them. rather quickly. What I'm being told.
Yeah, I mean, I just but from when people send me emails and they say that they still did not see it as of today,
Right.
We got to move quicker because we did this legislation back on the 17th, and here it is now on the 18th, and we still haven't had any movement. So I'm hopeful that will come through. But I know the issues with the vendor are huge.
That's one of the biggest things. But can you talk about what the resolution is that we have now filed?
So the resolution we filed is basically asking for a pause until we work out the issues. And we know those issues are many. We've been told that some of those issues have been resolved. But again, when we're told that those issues are resolved, we get letters from constituents saying it's not. We want the beacons moved. We want the signage changed. And we also want to make certain that we have directional signs, which, we were consulted with the other day because we didn't think about that. So when someone sees you're entering a speed zone, if you don't put a left or right arrow, you don't know where the speed zone is. So we know, but they don't. So those are the things that we're asking for. And I think the pause is fair because we want to be fair to motorists. And when we talk about safety, we got to be, if we don't educate the motorists and make sure that they're fully aware, then we're not making a safer environment.
Right.
We're just making a environment where we can just get $1.
So there is a resolution that has been filed by myself, by you, by Councilmember Fioretto, and is supported by several others.
Yes.
I'm not speaking out of school when I say today we have a majority
Correct.
who are supporting the legislation that is asking the administration to put this on pause. Now, some will say, and if all you got to do, I bring receipts. For those who say the council needs to put it on pause, you can go to the committee meeting from Tuesday. Go to the Facebook page
Community Development.
of Community Development
2 o'clock.
for 2 o'clock from the Buffalo Common Council from Tuesday, and there was a discussion with the city attorney, and the question was asked: can the council put this on pause? Do you remember the answer?
I do.
What was the answer? The second answer.
It was the director and the commissioner. Well, the director and the mayor, or the commissioner and the mayor, one of the two.
So basically, the administration can put it on pause, but what we were told, we couldn't. Come on now, I got receipts. Come on. All right, my son said he's COVID vaccinated. He got the vaccine.
What?
That just came up on my feed.
Uh-oh.
All right, good luck with them fingers and toes.
I'm
only playing.
You should not do that right now.
Because I got to pause and explain myself. I'm only playing because I do believe people should get vaccinated.
Yes.
I do believe it. So, but I'm
You know what?
I'm going to watch him for the next week. Start tripping and anyway. See, this is how I be all over the place.
No, you gotta let him. He's in healthcare. That's why he got the.
Oh yeah, it's not
because
he's
people thinking that's what they're thinking.
He is a frontline worker. He is a frontline worker. He is a patient advocate at the hospital, which means he talks to patients and advocates for patients. So he just sent a message. He got it. Now he can't come over. he can't come over for 2 weeks. But I'm going to talk to him every day.
14 days.
What's your name? The minute he say my name Rayshawn and his name really by Keith, we're going to have a problem. So, anyway, let's go back to what we were talking about. So we were told, and you can go back and look at the tape. It's live. It's recorded. I'm sorry, the live was recorded. So you can look where we were told the council cannot put it on pause.
Correct.
So what did we do? As soon as we were told that, we got off of that call, I don't know, 4 something. By 6 o'clock, we had clocked in a request that the administration put this on hold. Now, I want to say why we sit on hold. Because we truly do believe in safety in the morning and in the evening when children are going across school. But I'm going to say this. But that one on Bailey, now it's a daycare. Now what we were told is that basically the law, when it talks about school zone, it could even be a church.
Right.
If there's some type of instruction going in. So True Bethel could be a school zone. So I think, and somebody made this point, it's a daycare, right? I don't know many daycare students that cross the street.
I told you, I said to the commissioner, I sat there for an entire day and did not see anyone crossing the street. Nobody. And so again, when we're told these things,
what's the age? What's the age of daycare people?
I'm gonna say it's like iron babies to like 3, 4.
So anybody who's sending their 3-year-old. Now, if you with your parent ought to know when it's a red light and when it's a green light and how to, now and I'm not making light of it as much as we got to rethink this, and not. I mean, we didn't really have the choice. It needs to be rethought, I should say, to the point where it is truly for school safety. I've said before, I got a ticket in speed zone in New Orleans years ago before they had before Katrina. And but the camera was right at the school, like right where you cross, so that if you then, cross that area, and I know that Public Works has now put it where there's a pole. But I think, listen, if you're talking about school safety, and like I didn't fight my ticket, and you want to know why? It was huge signs. I just didn't look down at my speedometer. They would, which we got the blinking. We got the blinking now. But I can't see when you're talking outside. I can't hear you because of just Mark. Just tell him to tell you. I'm gonna get you a mic in a minute because he talking. He over there like this. The heck? So I got a speeding ticket, but I paid it.
Yeah,
and I paid it because there was enough warning. It was my failure to look. Now, if I went back now and then after I paid it, a couple of days later, Katrina hit and wiped out all the tickets after I paid it.
See, I don't have a problem. If someone gets a ticket during those times that we prescribe when you're endangering children, hey, you deserve that ticket because we want to, it's about the safety of the children. However, when other folks talk about the safety of children and we have not put down striping, we not made sure we had curbing, we not made sure we have signage letting people know you're entering a school area or school zone, those are the things that I just think that is problematic, that makes people feel like it's a money grab, because I think that we should just be putting those signs. The signs cost us what to put a sign up. Let people know in advance that you're entering a school zone, because if they don't know, they're still driving, recklessly because they don't know they're entering the school zone.
Well, we're getting ready to get a gentleman on by the name of Mike Blake, who put out a petition about the school zone cameras, and him and I one night had a very spirited conversation.
I like when you say spirited conversation
about this. Is Mike on? Mike, can you hear me?
I can barely hear you.
We're gonna switch that next week. Let's make sure that I'll get the phone. We're gonna have it over here so I don't have to holler. I'm gonna try to talk real loud for you, Mike. I was telling the people that we had a very spirited conversation about the speed zone cameras, and I know you did a petition about them.
Yes, we still have the petition with over 4,000 plus members of the Western New York area that are vehemently opposed to these cameras.
And Mike, you've seen that the council is asking for these cameras to go on pause?
I did see that. I think it's a step in the right direction. What I would like to ask you, Council Member Pridgen, would you be opposed to having public hearings in all the community centers throughout the city after the pandemic ends to see if the residents of the city actually want cameras? We feel that there has been a solution created to a problem that didn't exist. This idea that it's for the children, I have to tell you, it's laughable. It's laughable. I saw your nose growing as you said it. It's clearly laughable.
Yeah.
We all know. This scam has been perpetrated in other cities throughout the country, and it's just Buffalo's late to the party, and the people are on to you. Do the right thing and refund the money.
Yeah, I can't commit that there will be a public hearing in every community center because I only represent Ellicott. What I can say is that we are listening to the public, and I don't want to wait for pandemic to be over because that could be another half a year. We need to take care of things now.
Well, the kids aren't even in school, so if they're not in school, why would we care about speed cameras near schools?
No, some of the schools are in. The only place where the speed cameras are active is where schools are in.
Okay.
So
why don't we put a police officer there and have radar? And if somebody goes by doing 45, you pull them over and you give them a $500 ticket. Why don't you do that?
no, I don't think the residents want marks on their license.
I think they do.
Well, I don't, and you might think it, but I don't know of one resident out there that would, if they're truly speeding and they get a $50 ticket and they don't get a mark on their license, rather than getting a $500 ticket and getting. I think it'll be another petition up, Mike.
I think the mistake you guys made when whoever decided to do the $50 tickets is I think you were out of touch with the working poor, and you didn't think $50 was going to be a lot to people. And I'll tell you one thing, Councilmember Pridgen, you've achieved racial unity with this, because you want to know why? My petition with 4,000 people, I saw the Asian names, Hispanic names, black names, and white names. We're all unified against this because we don't want them.
Yeah, that's good. But you notice who let you come on and talk on our radio show, right? And who is making the changes.
I appreciate that.
So, yeah, we're still working on it. I don't want to wait, Mike. I want to take care of it right now for our people. Hey, Mike, thank you for being on the show. I told you I'd let you come on.
You don't want to hear me, do you?
What?
You don't want to hear the rest, do you?
Oh, no, it's just that this show is not dedicated to Mike. So I told you I would have you.
It's dedicated to the working poor that were scammed by the city.
Oh, okay. You're talking to the people who are trying to fix it. So maybe you ought to...
Get rid of the cameras. Get rid of the cameras. This is not George Orwell 1984. We don't need them.
Okay. God bless. Okay. That was Michael Blake. He thought I wasn't going to let him on the show. I don't mind people. Now, let me be clear. I don't mind people having a different opinion.
Right.
And I definitely... I mean, we're the ones trying to change it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when we talk about... and this has been before the council for a while... any fine is going to affect people, and depending on your economic status, right? But if you put a police officer there, and I want people to understand how many different opinions we have out there. So he says, put a police officer there and tag them. Now you're going to have, come on now, let's talk about it for real. Now you're going to have other activists who have been very active in police reform saying, my God, y'all putting a police officer there when you could put a camera there, and you want to talk about the working poor, and my insurance is going to go up because I'm going to get 3 points on my license, and it's going to be very hard for me to challenge a ticket that a police officer ran radar on me and watched me go through, rather than a speed camera where I can argue about the calibration or the number or blah, 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 right? So I'm going to be clear to everybody. I am not a proponent of the suggestion that was just given to us to put a police officer there.
Absolutely not. I mean, but there's things that people are still dealing with, like when people say the beacon wasn't on, and I'm like, but and you got to believe that these people who are getting tickets in the same area, the beacons can't be on, because people would not be getting 5 and 6 tickets if they saw the beacon on. So there's some things that we got to fix to this, and we got to make certain that this thing is working, because again, when so many people tell you that I didn't see the beacon on, the beacon wasn't on, you got to start believing it. Because I know one of our colleagues stood in front of one of their schools and they saw that the beacon was not on.
See, you know me, I like facts.
Yeah.
I think that that's when you take a council staff person and you sit them in the car at the place where you're getting the complaints, like I did on Best. And I sat somebody there and recorded and showed people going through that stoplight at Best in Maston all day long, right? So that we can come up with a different, something else has to happen there, right? I think that if people are complaining without that proof of being able to show that beacon wasn't on, so that's just a suggestion for Ross says, I shared photos and had to show the video. I called Councilman Wyatt's office and the administration. They were very helpful. She is ultra familiar, in all caps, with the complaints and the issues on Main Street near Windspear. So, I mean, we're hearing the complaints now, but you got to, just so that people understand, you'll get a guy, and which I opened it up. I invited him on, and I said he didn't even know he could get on the committee. Come on to the committee, give your opinion, because at the end of the day, people are so thin-skinned sometimes in elected offices. Like, well, they disagreeing with me. They have every right to disagree.
Exactly.
But then you have a responsibility of what you think should happen in order to take care of certain things. So that's what we're doing.
Right.
And by the way, don't think that that one petition unified people, because at the end of the day, I saw people unified over police reform all summer long.
Yeah.
And those were white, and those were Asian, and those were black. So I saw a great presence there of people who saying we don't want more interaction with the police. So to ask me to put a policeman at every school, which would be super over the top.
Right.
To ticket people who are already poor, I ain't doing it. Right. So let me go on record. I'm not doing it.
And I will say, because if you remember when the school speed zone program was rolling out, there was cops at schools. Even
when it was rolling out, and we had a fit.
And people were upset because they were like, well, which one am I getting? Am I getting a $50 ticket or am I getting a $500 ticket? So it was there at the beginning, and people were still upset.
I don't want a police officer at every school.
No.
If we're going to have anything, put the crossing guards there. I'm all for crossing guards. If we're talking about, I know that the cameras were to change driver behavior. At the end of the day, that or crossing guards, but not police. So I've said it and I mean it, and I'm over with that.
Yeah, I think some people have said that we could have done some other things aside from cameras, and sometimes that's always Monday morning quarterback type of thing. But we could have done some other things. Some of the things that I've been pushing for, some of the things I've been pushing for, which are in our capital budget, is speed humps. We've been waiting for a couple of years for speed humps. We want to see these speed humps in our residential area so that we can protect the safety and security, not just for children at school, but residents and seniors who are crossing the street as well.
You got it. So we've done what we can, and we are continuing to move forward, and hopefully we will see a change there. Hopefully. But I invite you to come on and give your opinion. Let me see. Ross said he had just said higher. I done got hot. Is it? No, because we got this heater in here.
We got the heater,
and I needed
we
it.
turned the heat on.
Oh, is the heat on?
We turned it. We got it turned on, right? Yeah.
No, it ain't. No. This one is. Oh, no, this ain't working.
Yeah, no, remember because this room is still on this one. This thermostat.
Oh, y'all just didn't turn the heat on, so we got that. We got that real heat. We got that heat in here. I mean, it's going on like when I came up into Perry. So Tim Newkirk said exactly. But Ross had just said hire crossing guards. And I remember, now we still have a few crossing guards.
Yes, we do.
And I think that crossing guards are very valuable. It doesn't necessarily change behavior, but I think it does alert people. And it also protects children, I think, which is so important.
Well, and just to further close out, I think if it would be one thing if we earmark the funds from this to specifically go into changing roadway infrastructure to slow people down in school zones. Now, I know we hate the curb bump outs and stuff like that.
I hate them.
But I know there's studies that show that those automatically slow traffic down. So or just painting in the crosswalks or just.
See, I don't mind some things on side streets.
Yeah.
The crosswalks, for instance, in the film, on Fillmore, and I'll talk about the Ellicott District, where some of these bump outs are, you can't see around.
Right.
So now you got cars parked there. You can't see the oncoming traffic. And even like how the street was reconfigured up by East on Fillmore, and you go to make that right or that little, I drive it every single day. So I think we have to be very cautious about the studies and what's practical.
Right.
So like Main Street, listen, we got to get people in and out. I don't want to end up, because we're trying to narrow lanes and trying to get up our main thoroughfares, and it takes me an hour to what would take 15 minutes. Neighborhoods are one thing, and bigger streets. But when you start taking, I don't know how, this is what I don't understand. People are moving into the city of Buffalo, and people are moving out, but people are moving in. Definitely real estate is hot right now. So you're going to have possibly more people living in and driving on these main thoroughfares. Now, if it takes me double the time because either the lights are not synchronized or it was a 3-lane like Humboldt. Humboldt Parkway is tough because as you're coming down Humboldt now, like by Ferry, Utica, you got the bike lanes, which I know there's a lot of proponents for bike lanes. And then you just got this one lane. Yeah. So now you go you get off, and sometimes you can get kind of stuck almost into the 33. So that's where I'm saying that once we do these things, and I know everything is kind of trial and error at times. You know, you try to do the best engineering you can, but you got to be willing to come back and then look and assess. And this is where I think people don't realize how important their voice is. You know, if you got a council member that is listening to you, they're going to, we can't change everything because, for instance, you got a letter, right, about the lights. Yeah. I mean, you ain't got to say from who or who they were applauding, but I will say it was from a private school official.
Right. And I mean, the private school is applauding the administration. And again, you got to balance these things out. It's like, well, do you understand that the people who live in my district who are getting tickets unfairly because there's not proper signage? Again, everybody's for the safety of the child and the children, but if we don't have the proper signage and beacons and things, as we've told people, because we had to push for the beacons. Right. Remember, initially we had no beacons. The council pushed for the beacons to make sure people are fully aware. So, you know, so we're trying to make sure that we do the right thing for children and families as well as the motorists, because at the end of the day, an educated motorist and a well-aware motorist is a safer motorist. And if you come up on Main Street at St. Joe's and you're in front of Gloria Parks and you see the beacon, and then in front of Gloria Parks is the camera, is that safer for you? You might slam on the brakes because you've seen that flash.
Well, do you think?
Go ahead, and we're gonna close this out.
I was gonna say, do you think like another added just thing instead of signage is like rumble strips? Something that can, like a rumble strips to let you know you're entering
the speed bump he's talking about, but the rumble strips are like several speed bumps,
little ones. At the toll booths, like the on the way in.
I think that if again we're talking about safety of children, it has to be more than one thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I do agree. I would love to see before you hit that camera, you're gonna hit some rumble strips, and that there's a lot of signage, because one thing that I think about now, and as we have been meeting about this, several council members have just been meeting and getting others' opinions, and I'm all for collaborating, listening, and working. The attack mode, it comes and goes. Y'all can do whatever, but at the end of the day, when we work together, we can get more things done. If you had the rumble, like the rumble strips and signage, and you come into that speed zone, you have had more than enough now indication that I need to slow it down. And I really don't think that that's a bad idea of being able to do that. Ross says it's more dangerous looking for a sign, oh boy, than watching the road. And that's why I think another level that would alert you, and it's always can we put it there because we get snow, and all you got to do, snowplows would know if they should be looking for the sign. So if where the rumble strips are, you have a sign there that the plows would know that they've got to lift up their plow a little bit on the rumble strip. I've seen that in other places.
But I don't think the rumble strip is even affected, because you have it on the interstate, and when you're driving in snow and you hit that rumble strip, snow or no snow, you're gonna hear it, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah, but I'm saying when they're plowing, you don't want them to plow with the blade low and knock the rumble strips off the street.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you don't know nothing about that kind of stuff.
Well, see, I'm thinking of the rumble strip that's embedded in the pavement.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, not the one that just.
Oh, you talking about that goes down in instead of that?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is Buffalo.
So you talk. So why don't you do your speed humps like that? Why don't you dig a hole? I'm thinking. No.
You can't dig a hole for
you talking
the
about
humps.
rumble strips that you dig a hole in the thing. This is Buffalo. Let's put some. Sean, you understand what I'm saying? I know your brain can handle that. Let's put some dips in the street. Right. Like when you go off, like
but it's a
right. Then you don't have to. I received that, council member. Yeah. Those are smaller, but I mean, I was thinking the ones that when you go like through a parking lot, and you got
okay. So we got the same understanding, but it's a different approach. The
amen.
different type of rumble strip.
Amen.
Yeah,
I'll receive
rumble
yours,
in the jungle.
but I'm not sure if at a low speed. See, come on. I'm not sure if at a low speed those ones that's on the side of the highway you would hear.
So I think it's a two-pronged approach.
Okay.
The neighborhoods get the above ground hump you're talking about, and I think like on a main street or Bailey, it should be rumble strips, because just like on a highway, they got a ton of signage and those rumble strips to let you know you're approaching the toll booth and everything else.
People are going in on this rumble strip idea. They are going in on Facebook. Danetta McKinnon says, I like the rumble strips. Melanie says, I agree with the rumble strip. You got all kinds of hearts and likes and on the rumble strips.
Yeah.
Now that's something.
Okay.
Come on. See this? I'm going to say it again. This is the benefit of a show like this and being able to have media and being able to own your own.
There you go.
Is because then you can hear from people.
Yes.
Now, anybody accused of not listening, we might not be able to do everything, but dang on it.
Rumble strip.
So
rumble strip legislation.
here we go.
No, right. Because then you know.
Well, we getting ready to shut this down, or else I cannot move. I said it 3 times, and they keep dragging me back into it. I'm done with it. I said it 3 times.
They pull me back.
All right, so this is the last show
right there.
of the year. I've got to do something that I want to do.
The last show.
The last show. I'm not going to spend my last show. Just keep talking about we working on that.
Yes.
So there have been people over this last year who have really been on the front lines of battle. And I want to spend my last 20 minutes. You can call in. Now, Mark, you're going to have to handle, so I don't have to holler across the room to get people to just say. You can call in. You can put it on Facebook. I want to highlight people, individual people who you know who have been on the front line of this COVID and keeping people alive or feeding people or doing something and really having to put themselves in danger, put their families in danger, and still had to go to work every day and couldn't stay home. So I want you all to begin. I know it's a delay on Facebook. If you want to call me, we're not talking about the cameras anymore. If you start talking about the cameras, unfortunately, we're going to disconnect the call. This last 20 minutes in this holiday season, in this Christmas season, I want to highlight people, and I want you to give me a name, or you can give me an occupation if you don't know a name. But in this season of giving, I want to thank so many. 2 of my children, I'll start off. 2 of my children work in healthcare, Ashley and Markeith. That's all we had to work in healthcare, right? And Ashley and Markeith both. And Ashley has been present during the testings and all of that over at Jericho Road.
Yes.
So I honor her today, even as she's ill today, and not with COVID. But Ashley, I'm so proud of you, and Markeith, who they couldn't stop going to work. They've had to get up every day. He works at ECMC, and so I want to highlight those. Who you got?
I have 2 cousins who are nurses, Misty and Nicole. They could not stay home, and they have children. So I honor them because, again, as you stated, Pastor, they can't just stop and not go home. I mean, they got to be out there, and they're on the front line. And it's just like a soldier. He goes to war to work for our country, and they put their lives on the line. You just don't understand the impact. So, big shout out to them.
The number to call here is 895, area code 716-895-8222, extension 223, 895-8222. Extension 223. One more time for those of you who are listening, 895-8222, extension 223. Who you want to shout out, Mark? I caught you off guard.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Like I did Rashid today. Like I caught Rashid off guard today on the committee meeting, and the dude was calling out all kinds of stuff. Move to adjourn? No, we're not adjourning. What are you talking about? Move to accept? Move to. Should I move at all? I'm so sorry, C. I'm sorry. But Rivera couldn't connect. So, who go ahead, Mark?
I would Since I was caught off guard, I want to shout out government workers. A lot of us haven't stopped working. If honestly, a lot more of us have worked harder, I think, than we were when, we were doing our normal 9 to 5. We've been more accessible for that reason, making sure our constituents are taken care of on all levels of government, state, federal, county. I don't think I've called one of our Western New York reps and not got a response. So shout out to the government workers who have either still gone to the office or been accessible even working from home.
I'm trying to get everybody in. My cousin Dana McKinnon Johnson, an RN in Atlanta, Georgia. My glasses is messing up. Ari J, what were you about to say?
And I'm going to get in trouble. My sister Yvette, my brother Prentice, and my little cousin Celine, all frontline workers working in hospitals and healthcare.
We have anything on the Facebook feed?
No, everyone's just watching.
I want to also shout out, which a lot of people don't recognize, the sanitation workers.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
who
shout out.
all through this pandemic have had to still come and collect our trash.
Yeah.
And they do it. I mean, that's their job, but that's not the point. They couldn't stay in the house. They couldn't quarantine. They're the ones who are emptying the mask and our leftover gloves and all that kind of stuff. 895-8222 extension 223. My brother-in-law who and all of the firefighters and law enforcement who they had to still go into houses where you don't, even if somebody had COVID. Ambulance driver, and especially ambulance drivers, they can't not go in because somebody in the house has COVID. They may have to put them in the ambulance and transport them. Thank you for what you all did. You got a call, Mark? Okay, you talk to him.
Caller, you're on the air. Who do you want to highlight?
Good afternoon. This is Pat, and I would like to highlight my daughter. She's a registered nurse, Jackie. She's a registered nurse at Buffalo General, and she did get the COVID. This is in March. The smell ain't came back yet. But she still got to stay there. She's still working, but thank God my grandkids didn't get it. So y'all just say a prayer for us.
Thank you, Pat. Melanie, thanks, Pat. Melanie Sharice says, all my Millard Fillmore suburban workers and Buffalo General workers. So we're talking about all of these folks who if you use this time to let's highlight somebody if you know them, or if you don't know them, if it's just a profession you want to highlight. You got a call, Mark? 895-8222 extension 223. What we got, Sean? All right.
Queen Doyle, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Bishop.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I want to give a shout out to all of the nurses and the personnel working in our nursing homes, taking care of our loved ones. I have a sister who is in Terrace View, and the nursing homes were hit pretty hard with the COVID.
Right.
So my prayers go out to all of those workers. And Bishop, I just want you to know that tomorrow my show, Eye on History, will be my final show.
What?
Yes, I've been in the air. I've been in Buffalo for 14 years. And I will be ending the show tomorrow. People can tune in from 11 to 11:30 in the morning. I will be saying farewell.
Well,
I've had a good time on Buffalo, but it's not the end. I still do continue to write about Black history.
Well, let me say this before you hang up. We adore you. We honor you. I thank you for everything that you have taught us and will continue to teach us. We hate to see you go off of the air. I understand when you say this is my time, but know that this community loves Eva Doyle. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, Miss Doyle. Yes. Yes, Miss Doyle. Yes.
Man, that's crazy. I'm almost done now. Dang, I don't want to talk about nothing else. When the Queen comes off the air, 895-8222 extension 223. Come on and highlight somebody. Brenda Plowden is saying airline workers and TSA. That's a good one. Duncan is lifting up his wife, Carolyn. She's a social worker who has never stopped working through COVID. So it's a lot of people out there.
Grocery store workers. I mean, especially early on. I mean, when we really didn't know, they still had to go to work. Thank you to those grocery
and still
store
have
workers.
to.
Yes, and still
even
have
when
to.
they didn't have up all the protective gear that we have now. What were you about to say,
I
Mark?
said Jamal Woods on Facebook said the Buffalo Gatekeepers.
Yep. Okay. Who is the gatekeeper? Just the gatekeepers?
Yeah, that's what it said.
All right, Buffalo Gatekeepers. And you got a shout out. Amber Bowling says, my nephew got it 3 months ago in Ohio ICU. Thank God he made it. His mom passed. Sorry to hear that. COVID ain't no joke. 895-8222, extension 223, or you could put it on the watch party on Darius G. Pridgen, or you could put it on the Facebook page of Power to the People show. Carolyn Lane says, pastors and funeral directors.
Wow.
I mean, that's the truth. That and especially my brethren, the funeral directors who have had to be on the front line, still had to go pick up the deceased and deal with families and bring them in the funeral home. And many pastors are still having services or virtual services. It did not stop. Kimberly, I don't know how, Kimberly L. Davis Hewlett says postal workers.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, the best postal worker in the city of Buffalo services Northampton.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. She is the bomb. She knows not to leave packages outside. And one of the first cards I got when I was sick, I had never really met the postal worker. She sends me a card. And she did not put her name. She just said, your postal worker. I got the best postal worker. No disrespect to anybody else. My son Tim Pitts, a CNA. These CNAs have had to keep going, as I think it was Miss Doyle just said about those, and especially those who work in nursing homes, because I think at times the nursing homes were not as well protected.
Yeah.
Some nursing homes as they could have been, and you have people who still had to go to work. Keep going. My children, parents who have had to become even more of your child's teacher and advocate.
Parents and grandparents.
Yeah, that is so important. My mother-in-law, Tracy, who is a respiratory therapist, and she goes all the way to Rochester to work. So she's got to drive. She was driving back when we were driving back from work. So she is a traveling nurse. She's in Rochester right now, and these are people who get up every day. Give me some more.
Did we shout out police?
Who?
Did
We shout out police and fire. Who is that?
The bus drivers.
Bus drivers. Yeah, those who drive the trains and those who drive the buses. We don't think about sometimes. They had to and still have to keep going. Some people, let's be honest, have had extended time off and have had not to go back. And I say this, when your offices open back up and your boss says you got to go back to work, don't act goofy. Don't, why we got to go back? No, you got people who never had a chance to sit at home. And I know it was for protection, but they had to get up, and they really had to put on more than this just shirt and their suit top. They had to really put on pants and not be there in basketball shorts like some could. Faye Hemphill says our local corner store employees. Oh yeah, the local corner stores.
Deli stores,
Because a lot of these neighborhoods do not have large supermarkets, but you could go to that corner store. And that's why we continue, and I know this is your baby, of pushing fresh foods in corner store, because some people, they don't have the luxury of being able to run down to one of the to stores. Carolyn Lane says teachers. I totally agree. Teachers, give me some more. Give me names. Come on, keep going. 895-8222, extension 223. I've got about 10 minutes, and I just want to get this. How I want to end this year. Grandparents.
A lot of grandparents became child care workers.
The grandparents.
Go to work and
That's
watch
true.
their kids and stuff.
Did you have to? Did you?
Daycares were closed.
Did you have to become a child care worker?
Yes.
Not me. Everybody know.
Well, my wife did.
She had to take it on.
But a lot of us have, because daycares weren't closed and kids had to go to work.
Yeah.
Adults had to go to work, so grandparents stepped up and
Big shout out to grandparents.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Elaine and Madeline. They both go to St. Luke. They would go and get the food from the school and take it to folks who needed food. Shout out to them. They didn't have to do it, but when they found that there was a need, they made sure that they took the food to the children so that they had something to eat.
So I got to say a big shout out to the True Bethel Food Pantry.
Oh gosh, yes.
Because there's 100% volunteers. They're open 2 days a week. And last month, they fed over 7,000 meals. The other day, we had, I don't know how, 900, over 900 families taken care of in one day. The line went around the corner. And it was Fathers and Feed More, Western New York, Snug, Stop the Violence, Peacemakers.
United Front.
They didn't just come here. They've been going all over the city, feeding people.
Right.
And so we got to say thank you to them.
Yeah,
I definitely shout them out.
And I was going to say the official numbers were 450 emergency boxes of food, 450 produce boxes, and 450 meat boxes, all done by 1 p.m.
All done by. We were out. We were finished.
Yep.
Bishop Gelsey, there was two things about Bishop Gelsey when we were talking about scraping off the car. He said, I just scrape off the front window and then drive the Delta Sonic. And here's the bad thing, because we live on the same street. I could really do the same thing. I just don't, well, I wouldn't just, but I got that, you pay for it by the month. They taking my money because I very rarely go. Y'all know I don't care about no car.
Oh my gosh, I'm going.
They very rarely, but he
I'm
makes
telling
bring
you.
it up.
right there. I go every time I pull out the
Do you really? I don't.
I probably don't owe them money. 'Cause I use my limit.
I'm maxing it.
Bishop Gelsey says Betty Jean Grant. That's our neighborhood reporter. Because Betty Jean Grant goes to every event she could get to with that camera and give you a blow-by-blow of what's going on.
And shout out to her, too, because, she was out there giving out PPE with megaphones and everything. And I know sometimes she doesn't feel appreciated, but, we people see you. And I do think that people appreciate you because you were one of the first ones out there with PPE.
Yeah, and she has stayed consistent on it. She will get in that car. She got the megaphones on that car and be riding through the neighborhood saying, put your mask on. Put your mask on.
She plays no games when it comes to that mask now, I tell you.
Carolyn Lane says, for council members like you two giving out food and information and helping us. And there were other council members who were out there. I know that I'm not going to start naming, but I know that that several council members, including Councilmember Wingo and others, were out there and they were giving away food. They were giving away, I think every council member gave away PPE and all that. So I don't know of one council member on the council who did not do something to benefit their constituents during COVID. My son, Joanne Lorenzo says, my son, Carlos, a supervisor of environmental COVID floors and other floors. Wow, and that means every day they went into battle. We got to give them the gift of recognition today, and that's how I wanted to close out my year.
Yeah, I want to celebrate. And I know it's another governmental entity, but Erie County. I shout out to Mark Polencarz and his health team. They've done a phenomenal job, and even our governor, as far as getting the information out to people. I think we are truly blessed. And people can go on one side or the other with the governor. At the end of the day, I believe at the heart of him is the health and welfare of New Yorkers. And you got to get that big ups too.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And Dr. Gail.
Yes, Dr. Gail Bernstein.
That's who I had to reach out to when, in the early part when I got it and nobody knew what to do. And I was just like, no, I think I'm just not feeling well. She was like, no, you got to get tested.
Yeah.
And thank God, because I could have spread it to other people.
Yeah.
So I say a big shout out to the same people, the governor. At the end of the day, that press conference could be a little bit shorter, but I'm just saying, I'm a straight shooter. But I do appreciate having a government leader who at least makes a decision. And I didn't always agree with him, and that's okay. But the one thing that I didn't do is try to go against him when, even Polencarz, we didn't always agree on the decisions he was making.
Right.
I remember when we had outdoor church and he was on the little live and they were like, well, what do you think about True Bethel having outdoor church? He's like, well, I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to be calling him. And he did call me. And I still did outdoor church because it was within what we could do. Because my feeling is if you can go to a drive-in, why can't you drive in at church?
Right.
But overall, we were very very blessed to have government leaders who made decisions and who did their best to keep us safe, whether we were hard-headed or not. They did I think, I'm with you, C. I think that the leadership of the county, the leadership of the state, the mayor getting up the PPEs and equipping City Hall, making sure that we had the thermometers. And I go through the thermometers. I'm the council president.
I do.
Both of us walked in work today. We don't walk past
No, we
them,
don't.
and we walk in there. We go to those thermometers. We use our masks. So I say to all government leaders who were doing their jobs, and not telling us the mask didn't work and let's social gather,
Well,
that they
then
did
I got
a good
one
thing.
more. I got one more level to shout out. Then the superintendent and the school board.
Yeah.
They got some tough decisions.
They
to
have a
make.
tough decision. I mean, I know people are saying to us, we should be saying to them, at the end of the day, I'm not on the school board. You got to go lobby that school
right.
board if you want something, because I don't have the science. I'm not privy to what decisions they're making. But might not agree with them. But at the end of the day,
That's a tough
I
decision.
think that's a tough decision. I'm so glad I'm not on the school board right now because they have tough decisions. Tanika Lee, manager of subacute rehab and COVID unit and long-term care. Salute to all of the essential leaders. And I know Tanika had to work straight through. I mean, it's coming through. I could take about 2 more calls before I have to go. 895-8222, extension 223. So as we get ready to kind of close this, what are you most thankful for?
I'm really
Christmas time?
thankful. I mean, with this COVID, I think it really pushed us to do better and to look at other innovative ways. And I mean, I think we're going to be better after this. I think hopefully we've learned some lessons in how to protect ourselves from future pandemics. But again, I'm just thankful for just having the opportunity to do what we need to do for the public and them to see how important and how critical they are to our lives.
Yeah, I'm thankful, number one, for the Lord still hearing my voice.
Yes.
I'm thankful for healing. I'm thankful for family. And I'm thankful for this privilege of being a leader. I believe that, the Lord allows us to do this. People vote you in, but I really believe that for me, for those of us who are believers, that it's God who gives you that opportunity. And when he gives you that opportunity, you got to do the best you can for those whom you represent. So I'm thankful for that portion in my life right now. And I mean, I got about a zillion things, but I'm at the end of the show. Mark, what you thankful for this Christmas?
I think I'm just thankful to make it to this holiday season. Like you said, as being some of those who have went through COVID and didn't make it, over 300,000 in this country alone, and to be one of the ones that did early on when we had no idea what we were going through. It is tough because haven't been able to see certain loved ones and travel and do the things we love the things that keep our spirits up and still make it through this year. That's what I'm grateful for, and to still have the resources to make sure my kids have a great Christmas.
Yeah. Sean, last one, then I got to pay the bills.
Piggyback off of I'm thankful for my health, my family's health, all the people that are, that I love and work with and able to stand beside. Just thankful that we've gotten through this. We'll get through this. And
all right.
Continue those blessings upon everybody else.
All right.
All right, we're getting ready to go. Hobson's, the Dr. Dry Cleaner, 874 East Delavan Avenue. Take your stuff over to Hobson's. I just got I call it a haul, because I take a lot of clothes at once and I then have to pick up a lot of clothes. And I'm just afraid my closet is not going to be able to take them, because I still have to wear suits every day. I still have to get dressed and come out here. And so please go over to Hobson's. They're the ones who've kept us on the air, along with Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. 3 locations to serve you: 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, 1275 Sycamore. This week alone, they have serviced the McCarter family, Williams family, Atkins family, Brooks family, Nisa family, and the Jacobs family. who Nanette will be laid to rest
Yes,
here. Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
And tonight is Judge Jeanette Ogden's mom. Her services will be here.
Okay.
So we still work over here. We still got to do it, and we got to make things happen. So, yep.
Just want to say happy birthday to Mama Connor.
All right. Happy birthday to Mama Connor. I got to get ready to go, you all. Thank you again for the privilege of leading in this time. I'm not perfect. We don't always make the decisions that everybody agrees with, but I want you to know, at least from these two council members and many others, that we really believe in doing the work of the people, and that's why we always sign off with the words,
Power to the people.
We're going to stay there for the after show. Thank you all on the after show. I'm not going to stay long because I got some meetings today. But you don't know how much energy you all give me at the on the share party. Amber, thank you, Amber. Thank you, Renee Munn. Just appreciate you all so much. And when you're on, you're the audience I'm looking at. You're the audience I can see. And so I really thank you, Brenda. I really wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. It's just important that we continue to work together, do the work of the people, stay safe. And I know all of you who are on, Kwanzaa is coming up, but all of you who are on, I know you're staying safe. But I just pray God's blessings be upon you all. I'll see you on the other side of 2020 because we won't be back until 2021 on this show. So thank you for a very successful year, and thank you to the crew here, all one-man crew, the one who sets up everything and does the cameras, the phones. I'm going to relieve him from the phone duty. My grandson, who has really taken also a leadership role in making sure that we get all of this done. So again, thank you. God bless you. And we'll see you on the other side of 2021.